Obviously, I'm with Anthony Ashnault now. And we're going to be live here. We're going to be live. We're going to take all your questions, anything you want to talk about as far as Rutgers wrestling, the Olympic trials wrestling, Anthony's career, recruiting, whatever the case might be. But first and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for jumping on, or even if you're just listening. I know this is a very, very tough time with the virus going around and this pandemic, but hopefully this hour or whatever hour long we decide to go, again, it's our first time doing it, winging it. Hopefully this gets you away from that just for a little bit, and you could talk wrestling and anything else you would like to discuss. So we're here for you. This is a new platform for us. We're excited about it. So we'll try it out, see how it goes, and hopefully you like it. Also want to thank Pat Capra, Kevin Malice, and all of Malka Sports for putting this together. Again, giving us a platform to help our fans, families, friends, just get away from everything going on right now and just join us to just enjoy the hour. Anything else you want to add on that, Ant?
Nah, man, I'm just excited to give some of our fans and maybe other people that haven't been exposed to some of our platform just a little gist of what we do and what's going on during this kind of pandemic right now, and what we can still do and what we can't really do, what's kind of hurting us, what's not really bothering us about it all, and a lot of stuff going on within the wrestling world. So I'm excited to talk about some of that. And end of the wrestling season, always a lot of movement, a lot of different things happening within the NCAA circuit. So a lot of different things coming out each day. I'm excited to hear some of our questions and just some of our gossip a little bit too.
Yeah, cool. So the cool thing about this, if these people want to get on this, download the Fan Cred and come and ask us a question face to face, you just hit that green fan line button in the bottom right of the screen, and our producer will grab you and get you on with whatever question you may have. Why don't we do this, since I'm sure there's people, maybe they don't want to be the first ones to shoot out a question right away. Why don't we give our viewers, because they're certainly going to want to ask you anyway, basically kind of what you're doing as far as your training, right? The trials scheduled for April 4th and 5th were canceled. The Olympics were canceled. So I'm sure, especially the New Jersey wrestling fan, the Rutgers wrestling fan, and probably fans all over around the country want to know how you're handling it and kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, at first, I mean, I've talked about it. A lot of people have talked about it so far. But at first, man, everyone was just like nervous about hearing that the Olympics were either going to happen this summer or be canceled in general. So like those are not easy thoughts when you hear stuff like that. So during the first couple days in the first week or two, it was just, let's figure out what the heck's going on. How long is this thing going to last? Who's going to be affected? And then Major League Sports started canceling season, postponing season. So it kind of looked like Olympics were going to have to be postponed or canceled. So I was just nervous waiting for that time period. But at the same time, my hobbies besides wrestling are like working out, lifting, just staying active. I mean, I don't really have much else going on. My goal is to be an Olympic champ right now, and I put my all into that, my 100% focus and energy. So with wrestling getting taken, it's like I just switch the efforts to staying in shape the best I can. I got weights at home. I got a little mat in my basement. I was thinking about it today because my sister-in-law brought up a good point where, I mean, she said, I guess she says I'm not taking quarantine as seriously as others. So, I mean, I wrote down a list of names. I broke quarantine with about 13 people, not a lot, but those 13 people might have broken with 13 other people, you know.
It adds up, right? It's crazy.
150 to 200 people I'm exposed to right now. But minus that, I mean, those 13 people, my roommate's girlfriend, girlfriends, brother or sister, them, mom, dad, it's very close people. And I've been only working out with those kind of people. So it's the same kids over and over again. I have wrestled and touched guys that I've seen every day. So, I mean, I guess I'm breaking a little bit of a rule, but it's very trustworthy guys that I know are clean, and I'm keeping my circle tight within it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not really leaving the house. So
isn't it hard to like just stay in? Like, we take it for granted, you know, you're sitting there and like, do you really just stay in? Like when it first happened, I think you and I probably golfed on that first day, March 13th, we were golfing together. And then the next thing you know, every day was a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. And here it is now. Like, you could barely go down. I go down the street, sit in my neighbor's sauna. Other than that, I mean, I don't come in contact with really anybody but my kids and family, but you kind of take that for granted, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was thinking about it on a normal week, me and you, we probably come across hundreds of people who come across hundreds of other people. So we're touching the thousands, the hundred thousands every week of people we're exposed to being at a public university. I mean, I like my odds right now of the people I came across, but you never know. We got to take this thing seriously and hunker down a little bit.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's been crazy to watch everybody deal with it. Like my wife's a guidance counselor. A lot of my friends are teachers, how they're dealing with it. Your brother just got a teaching job. How's your dad? Because he's in the health industry, he's in the pharmaceutical industry. Where's he at? I've reached out to him maybe a week ago, but I'm sure it's been crazy. But how's he handling the whole situation?
Yeah, maybe we get him to call in here, but he's a pharmacist and he owns a family-owned pharmacy business with two of my other, an aunt and uncle. So they're working around the clock right now, keeping the business running. They do a lot of hospice calls. So hospice is a program where people are at the last stages of their life. So a lot of things going on with their company right now, and they're a very essential business. So they're just really busy trying to do what they can to keep employees happy. Some of the employees don't want to work during this time in every company, not just theirs. Every company, people don't want to go into work. It's a stressful time. They don't want to chance themselves, put their family at risk if they have sick family or elderlies in their family. So people want to stay home, and it's a tough business when you're delivering medicine to save people's lives. You need people to come to work. So it's just round the clock. He's doing everything he can.
Yeah. I don't have a caller, but I got this one person in the comments for you. What is the most surprising, tough part of having to train in quarantine as opposed to the day-to-day? You answered it a little bit, but
yeah.
I mean, what do you think is the toughest part?
The toughest part is, I'd say, not having like your team or not having a camaraderie of guys around you to get through it. To push, like, I think for everyone, it's a little easier to push to your absolute limit when the guy next to you is beating you for a spot or trying to come take your crown a little bit, and neck and neck pushing you with reps, whether it's in the weight room or pushing you for the next takedown in the wrestling room. And that's the hardest part. You lose that. So the biggest thing I've been trying to do is just I'm grateful I got two roommates and get them to be active with me and just push me a little bit. We're in quarantine together, so they wrestled for Rutgers, Mikey Simmons, Jalen Ramos. I got those guys. They're athletes their whole life. They're pushing me. Definitely not the same resume that I've been putting myself through, but like a day like today, I went for a run this morning. I did some sumo squats in my basement and some agility jumps, and that's a good morning for me. And yesterday I did a little circuit I put together in my basement. I got dumbbells, I got some kettlebells, some ropes outside, a sled, a heavy medicine ball. I mean, I got a lot of stuff I'm working with, so I'm super grateful, and I think I got a lot more than maybe some people have. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. I take your some of your workouts DeMarco sends you, and then you kind of put it online. And I take those workouts, and I'm in a chat with a bunch of the phys ed teachers at Jackson, guys who work camp, Smitty, Drew Gibson, Chris Updike, Malta, all those guys that you see every single summer. But I'm like, guys, how hard is it to teach a physical education class online? Here, take Ashnault's workouts, have your kids do it. I mean, if a national champ can do it, why can't your physical educators, why can't they do it? So I send those workouts that DeMarco sends you, or the ones that you're doing, every single day. And those guys are like freaking out having to teach online. I mean, how hard is it? That's the one subject.
Yeah,
right?
I did the same thing. A cousin from South Plainfield wanted a video for his gym class he teaches, and I sent it. He was pumped. He sent it to the kids. Little calisthenics, It's cool, though, to be able to even give back at this level. It's also keeping me busy and keeping my mind active, trying to get better. When you film those workouts, you put a little bit of anxiety on your mind. You got to push a little bit harder because you don't want to be a punk on camera, and you don't want to sissy out. So it's a little bit of that keeping me motivated as well, and it's something to inspire others during this time. Stay active. A big thing I was thinking about during this time, a wrestler during this time, a wrestling athlete, girl or boy, this is the time to build your confidence, to catch people that aren't going to be training, to do what you thought you couldn't do last season or didn't do. This is the time to get better. A lot of us are going to feel bad about ourselves during this time and be a little bit lazy. In my mind, it's the perfect opportunity to just squash some goals and get after it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's such a good mindset, especially this time. It's like, it's hard, and we're getting a lot of comments here, mobbing at home. Ashnault be mobbing, so that's pretty cool. Just to remind people that you could join, on screen by just pressing that green button. You could get online with us, do a little FaceTime with us, ask any questions you have. I just want to go back. And I don't know if you were with us that day we found out. We had an 11 o'clock practice. I was working out with Pagano. A lot of people don't know this, but Jordan had a broken hand a week before the Big Tens. I think a couple days after the Ryder dual meet. So he was just getting back. He didn't wrestle in the Big Ten championships. He was just getting back that Thursday. I think it was March 12th. And for the people out there that are listening that don't know, we have TVs in our wrestling room, and we have the Big Ten basketball championships on the TV, and Rutgers was coming out to shoot their shoot around maybe 30 minutes before. It's probably 11:30 at that time, and they pulled them off the court. I don't know if were you in the room that day?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, so it was crazy. I'm thinking these guys are pulling Rutgers' first round of the Big Ten basketball championships off the floor out in Chicago. Like this can't be good. We went about our workout, kept training, and talked about it a little bit, but it was like, man, they're going to cancel this tournament. They're going to cancel this tournament. We showered up. I left 12:30. I had a meeting I had to go to, and then Joe Pollard called me around 2:30 and was like, "Listen, I'm going on a conference call," because I couldn't be on it because I was in a meeting, and he was going to take the conference call, and he hung up the conference call around 3. He was like, "Listen, they're canceling the national tournament." So that's kind of how I found out. I'm sure there was something. I mean, you probably found out about trials through social media, but can you remember that day at all? Like what was going on with the guys from the NCAA? Obviously, you still have a ton of friends still wrestling collegiately. What were your thoughts going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, I mean, you saw it coming with everything canceling, and it honestly, in my mind, I think I could be a little more honest than maybe you with this topic because you're involved with the NCAA. But in my mind, I thought the NCAA waited too long. Like they're supposed to be for the student athlete, and you got professional sports who's canceling their seasons for money, kind of profit making sports, and we're letting the season drag on for what's supposed to be for the student athlete's best experience and health concerns. I think the NCAA should have called it off a little earlier, but it was something that had to be done, and it just sucks. I thought about some of the guys that would have been a one-time All-American for the first time. Maybe Spencer Lee going for his 3rd out of 4 titles could have been a 4-timer. Like these guys, there's so much more at stake than just taking the NCAA tournament. You got incentives for coaches. You have guys that could have got salaries with RTCs for being an All-American for the first, second time. You got so much implications that come from being an NCAA qualifier, All-American, NCAA champ, national finalist that just got taken from these kids. And on top of that, you've been to the tournament as an athlete. It's one of the pinnacles of our sport to go compete at that tournament with the fans and the crowd and the energy. For any of the world level tournaments, it's 10 times better than I've been to so far. So I'm excited to make a world team and Olympic teams and see how it compares to winning those kind of titles. But I think the NCAA is the pinnacle.
Yeah. So here's we got there's a comment. We have somebody backstage, which is cool. First, there's a comment. What weight do you think you will train for 2021? That's for you, obviously.
Yeah, as long as the weight's 65 kilograms, I'm going 65 kilograms. So
that's good. I figured that.
Yeah.
Pat from New Jersey's backstage on the fan line. When you're ready, we could put him through. This is cool. This is like having our own Mike and the Mad Dog show. I like this.
Pat, so what part of New Jersey?
Oh, there he is.
What's up,
What's
fellas?
up, Pat?
How you doing?
What's going on?
Good. How are you? Can you hear us well?
I'm loving it. This is as close as I'm going to get to you boys right now. We're social distancing, so I figured I'd give you a shout. This is fantastic so far, man.
Good, man.
Quick question for you guys. Got a couple actually, but and obviously with the Olympics getting postponed and you were recovering from injury and everything, do you feel like in some way you might benefit from that?
Yeah, 100%. I think I'll benefit more than a lot of others. Maybe like you see in some guys not having to retire, but choosing to maybe stop pursuing the sport for a whole nother year in chase of their own Olympic dreams. For me, I feel like I'm still hitting my peak. I'm still climbing. I'm still getting better in wrestling. I was kind of not rushing a recovery, but I was hustling through a recovery to get back on the mat and get back to 100% or as close as 100% as I could. So I think this time will help me definitely develop areas that I'm weak in and strengthen the areas I'm already strong in.
Do you feel, what do you feel like you were wrestling at right now? You know, what percentage, now that you can look back and have a little bit of time, what percentage do you think you were?
I mean, if I had to be honest, I'd say at Pan Am's I was competing at like 85%.
Which is crazy to me because I was watching you train and just sitting back watching you drill, and I was like, this dude looks so much better than he did a year ago. I'm like, he's so much better, and I think everybody kind of gets better anyway. You know, once you give your body time to heal and rest, and you're not going through the day in and day out grind of college wrestling, but you've gotten so much better in just the last 2-3 months alone. And then after Pan Am's, you came back and were training. I'm like, he is so good. First, you believe you can make this team. You're going to make a run at this team. And I was like, man, he may make this team. This is awesome. So I can't believe you were only at 80%.
I mean, I believed I was good enough to win, and I was good enough. I was strong enough to go beat St. Rutherford, Jordan Oliver, all the best guys in the weight class. Frank Lonaro before he retired, and all those guys. I was confident in that. If I wasn't confident in that, and I wasn't confident that I'd be able to be strong enough to not re-injure myself, I wouldn't be competing. So I was testing myself. I felt very strong in that aspect.
Cool. You got anything else, Pat?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I have the pipeline loaded. I've been waiting for the two of you to chat for a while here, so this is beautiful. Goody, I just saw some news about ODU and their wrestling program.
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did you see the news? And obviously it's disappointing. What did you think about that?
Yeah, it's first I'll say this. Yeah, that's a sad day. Anytime a Division I program gets dropped, that's a sad day for wrestling. It was yesterday was bad. I know some of those kids in that program, and I obviously know the coaches. Yeah, it stinks, and I don't want them to use what's going on with this coronavirus. And again, I don't know everything that goes on in the athletic department, but I can tell you it has nothing to do with that. This was 6 months in the making. It's a $45 million football budget, and they had to cut something. And it seems like wrestling's always the first one to get cut. I don't know why. I don't think it's a lot to run a program. But again, I don't know the ins and outs of every single athletic department. So I'm not here to say that. It's disappointing. It's upsetting. I just wish these athletic directors would kind of let the coaches know, so the coaches could let other coaches know, so we can go on this. This wrestling community is so tight, and it's like a cult. We would rally for Old Dominion, and we would get people to donate and be able to save that program. It would take the wrestling community 48 hours to get $1 million to save that program, and because the wrestling community understands how important it is to keep these D1 programs. So I just wish there was a heads up and we could rally behind them. It's just so easy for them just to cut it and walk away with no. And how do you cut it now? People are losing jobs. People are losing everything. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and they cut. So to me, it's just so frustrating and shady. And but again, I don't know the ins and outs of their athletic department.
One last question for you, Goody, before I get out of here. People everywhere want to know what is going on with this beard. There are people that love the salt and pepper. Some people are concerned. Frankie Edgar's worried about no, just for men's formula, a little something darker. Is it something you're going to keep post?
I see all these comments. Here's the deal.
People want to know.
I know, it's gray. It's gray. I didn't shave it when I found out that morning. I know, that morning before the tournament, or before it was canceled, that Thursday, I shaved because I had meetings. And then since then, I haven't shaved, and everybody keeps telling you look so much older. You look so much older. Well, guess what? When I shave it, you look so good. You look so younger.
So much younger.
So young. That's it, man.
No play for Mr. Gray.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I appreciate you calling in, Pat. Thanks, man. We got Joe in New Jersey. I wish they would tell us where in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Talk about the town a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But Joe in New Jersey's backstage, so let's have our producer put him through.
What has your schedule been like, Goody? Oh, Joe Pollard. How you doing?
Oh, Pollard.
I know why.
I know why they didn't want to say where he's from. He's skeptical of Mercer County.
Duke.
Real questions, but this gentleman, this is actually coming from Duke. He's got a little camera shy, he got a little closer to the moment. He's still working on that. But we can cut right to the chase here as we talk to you guys quite a bit. During the quarantine time here at the Pollard household, we're playing a lot of board games. And Duke wants to know, he wanted to ask Anthony, but we'll add Goody in the conversation. what game do you think you could beat him at? He plays Monopoly, Clue, and the superhero matching game.
I think I could beat him at the superhero matching game. Is that his best one?
That's his best one.
I want him at his best.
What do you think?
I'm a big Monopoly guy. Have you played Monopoly with a family, Pollard?
We're right.
Oh, look at that. What's up, Duker?
We're in the thick of it right now.
How are you guys doing over there? Good?
Yeah, doing solid. Great time with the kids. Great time with my wife, and Britt's working a lot. Her job is probably even more extensive from home, having to keep track of everything. But she's a hammer, so she's pushing through.
Good, man. Good.
It's good though. It's good.
How about mom and dad?
They're good. They're good. Not going out much. I actually realized the other day that they're considered senior citizens. They went to the grocery market like 8 to 9.
They got the
you guys aren't old enough to do that. Apparently they are.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Just trying to handle Duke on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. He's got to be chomping at the bit.
How's he doing?
As long as there's no rain, it's solid.
Is he taking care of his little sister?
Every day. Mila's.
Is he being good with his sister?
Really good. Yeah, really good. She follows him around. She's his biggest fan.
Nice.
So he's playing it up like he's the man.
We got a comment. Working from home and this listening to you guys makes it a pleasure during this trying time. Thank you for doing this. So that's good. Again, we just want to get away a little bit and answer some of these questions. I'm fired up. Now my battery's starting to run low. That's not good. Hey, Noom. I can't plug it in. I'm sitting here, hon. Can't have an argument. We're in front of a lot of fans right now.
Good, see. Let's go.
Listen, you guys enjoy today. I'm going to get back to work here with the Duke, working on the Monopoly skills.
Yeah, good luck with
that. We're going to pull the mat out in the driveway in a little bit.
Bring the mat out.
All right, Duke,
yeah.
You want to take the mat out in the driveway? All right, a little bit later, after lunch. You need some nutrition.
Appreciate you calling in. Give our best to Britt.
Take it easy. Will do.
Man. Yep.
All right, guys.
Yeah, so Goody, can you hear me clear?
I hear you good, man. It's when somebody else comes on, it's kind of hard, but I hear you good.
How is your schedule changed? Are you guys as coaches, administrators allowed to go to Rutgers? Like, what's the deal? Are you allowed to call your recruits? How's your day-to-day been changing here?
It's the day hasn't really changed much. It's just we're not allowed up at Rutgers, so that kind of stinks. Yeah, Noom, I'm going to need this. So that kind of stinks as far as recruiting goes. We've been able to do a lot. You're doing it all online. It's a lot more FaceTime. We're doing some of these Zoom hangouts with the staff and the guys, some of the Google Hangouts. So that's been good. It's the worst part is you can't have these guys on campus. They can't travel to you. You can't travel to them. The norm for us was always, especially, week after nationals, we're on the road, high school nationals, flow nationals, home visits. There was so much that was being done. Here's the thing, though. Nobody can do it. So at least it's an even playing field. And
right.
I don't know, I guess you just better be able to handle being able to talk a whole heck of a lot and a lot of FaceTiming and different things. So I had Mike DeMarco put together a kind of a flyover of our new facility, not a flyover, but a fly through of our weight room, wrestling room, where we eat, our facility. And that's been pretty good to kind of show recruits that can't get to campus right now. So it's been different. There's no doubt about it. It's been different, but it's been good, man.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We
Yeah.
got
But it stinks not being able to be up there,
Yeah, we got a comment that people want to hear your wife, what it's like, hear from your wife on what it's like to deal with you at all times. I'm guessing.
Hey, Noom, you want to answer this question? Come on.
She loves it, right? She
wants to know what it's like to handle me at home all the time. I've actually been really good, man. I've stuck to a game plan and a schedule every day. I've read 3 books. And it's crazy. One on leadership DeMarco sent me. Remember, I don't know if you remember the name Martin Rooney.
No.
He wrote this book, Coach to Coach. Martin Rooney trained us when your brother was with us. He's a world-class trainer, and now he trained Edgar, and he sent me this book. It's called Coach to Coach. It's awesome. I read that, and then David Bugan sent me a book on it's called The Grit. So I've gotten through 3 books. So it's been good for me, man.
Any shows you binging?
What's that?
Any shows you binging right now?
Yeah, we're binging Netflix. I started that Ozark.
You like Ozark?
I'm through the first 5 episodes. It's pretty good.
Did you watch?
And then we're watching that
Tiger King?
Ray Donovan.
Did you watch Tiger King?
No, I watched the first of it. I thought that was terrible.
That's my kind of stuff.
We got Alex from Cranford's backstage.
Oh, is this
Esposito? It's got to be Esposito, right?
I hope it's Esposito.
You want to put him through? He's the only Alex.
Oh.
Espo.
What's up?
Espo, what's up, man?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
I was gonna call and ask Ashnault what he's doing for like wrestling training right now. Like, cause I mean, we can't really be on the mat at school. So like, what have you been doing? Like,
I'm doing a lot of besides stance and motion. I'm doing a lot of stance and motion for sure. But besides that, I got a ladder, or you could make a ladder yourself with like chalk or a rock on pavement. And I just been doing like little footwork drills. I'm sure we've been through them in the room together, or you see me doing them. Just moving in my stands up and down the ladder, thinking about different patterns through the ladder. If you have hurdle ladders, I've been doing a lot of what we do with Coach DeMarco, kind of sideways and stuff. And sometimes I'll go run first to get my legs a little bit tired, and then I'll hit that kind of stuff, stance and motion in that, maybe a circuit with a little bit of all 3, like stance and motion, jump rope or foot hops, and then the ladder, and three stations, and keep kind of rotating. Other stuff, I'm watching a lot of film of guys I like, trying to pick up new tactics that I want to use when it's time to go wrestle. And when I'm doing my stance and motion, I'm thinking really hard about those kind of hand fighting tactics or those shots that I'm working on. And I don't think you even have to go hit your knee outside in the grass or anything. You could do like high level, working on picturing, doing arm drags, and a bunch of different hand fighting tactics.
How you doing, Alex?
you good? I went up, got and stuff, physical therapy, and then I'll start next week probably. I was wondering, golf you play this spring?
You want to golf this spring?
Yeah. How many games of golf you play?
Alex Esposito was the heavyweight for Rutgers this year, if anyone didn't know that. Started at the Big Ten tournament. What do you – this year or were you a sophomore? Freshman?
No, freshman.
So, sophomore. Yeah, looking forward to big things from him. I mean, you've been working through this? You've been working out a little bit through this?
I've been a lot with my ankle. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I'm just going to hopefully get back. We start with a lot. And hopefully coronavirus will back.
Yeah. You're a little muffled, man. I can't hear you that well.
Then with the whole corona, I have to get on the mat.
Yeah, somehow he got cut off, but yeah, he was our heavyweight man. He started coming on. He started wrestling well towards the end. He's gonna be pretty good. This stinks that he's slowed now because of this, but he got hurt at the Big Ten, so maybe it's good he's off for a little bit. But if he gets back on track, he's an athletic big guy. So we're excited about Alex, man. I'm glad he called in. I haven't seen him. And hopefully we can get some more of our guys to call in. You know, they can come on just by pressing that fan like button at the bottom of your screen. I think we got somebody else. I think we got Joe from Freehold is on the line.
Who's been
backstage?
Who's been some of your leaders within like the Zoom videos? Just guys taking a little. Oh, what's up, man?
What's up, fellas?
Hello, what's up, buddy?
How are you guys? Hope you and your families are doing well. That's right. Fridays.
Everybody's mobbing.
What's up, guys?
What's
this is awesome. I'm actually on another work call, so hopefully no one else from my office is joining this chat with you guys. But this is awesome. Just a couple of quick questions, Coach. Really for you. Obviously, you know, with Division I athletics, you guys are such a close knit group, right? Your coaches, your staff. But anyone that knows your program, I think you guys take it to the next level. Can you just talk a little bit about some of the things that you're doing and some of the challenges and how you're sort of getting through this? I know you see your guys and staff constantly, so it must be a little bit difficult.
We're man, that's a good question. It's hard not being around those guys, but I think because of the situation, there's been a ton of dialogue, and we've gotten on calls. We've gotten on a bunch of these Google Hangouts, and every day, because our conversations could veer off so quickly, and they could just turn into wrestling or turn into technique or turn into last night's match, whatever the case might be. So what we've decided to do is maybe every other day just pick a topic. Maybe one day it's recruiting, one day it's a schedule, one day it's our budget, one day it's travel, things like that. It's camps, which have now been canceled. But, you know, every day we're picking it, or every other day we're picking a different subject. We're staying in connection with each other. We're always talking recruiting because it's a tough time right now, and we're trying to get with each other. But we've been in touch quite a bit, obviously our staff, and we've been in touch with Mike DeMarco, our strength and conditioning coach. Not only does he give our guys workouts, but he's given our staff workouts too. So he's kept us busy, and we've been busy with each other, and, you know, we've been in connection with each other. And first and foremost, we're always worried about our families. So we talk about that for the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then we just get down to business as if we were in our office. That's all we can do right now.
Awesome. I know you talked about your family. Obviously, we're spending a lot more time with our family, so that's sort of a silver lining, you know, when you come to some of this stuff. So obviously, there's always good banter on social media between who the best athlete in your house is. So, you know, seeing that this might not end for a couple of weeks, I was wondering, is there maybe a potential, you know, household Olympics that we can get going or something?
Here's the deal. We picked up a new game with my buddy Eddie Carney, and even with social distance, we're outside. We're playing pickleball.
Okay.
And between Zach and John O'Donnell, we challenges myself and Eddie, and pickleball's awesome. Listen, there's really there might be a debate on social media only because Zach puts it out there. There's no debate in our house. It's pretty.
It's clearly the dancer.
Yeah.
No debate, right?
She's pretty good. But I appreciate you calling in, man. I hope everyone's safe with you and your family. And as you know, man, we appreciate all your support, not only as a friend, but as a fan of our program, supporter of our program. I know Anthony appreciates it, and I'm glad you were able to call in and touch base. Haven't seen you in a while.
No, this is great, guys. Best to you and your families, and hopefully we see each other sooner than later.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Take care, guys.
This is cool. We have a bunch of these going. Somebody asked about camps. Yeah, right now, camps are definitely shut down for the summer. They're not going to let us in the dorms. If we're able to run some commuter camps, we'll do that. But right now, we just don't know that. So I know the facilities have been shut down since August 15th. I think it's important. Again, I don't want to speak for our athletic department because I know with athletics, that date may not, if this thing gets a little bit better, it might change with athletics. But as far as the university goes, yeah, 8/15 is the date for facilities. Again, that has nothing to do with athletics. So I think we might have somebody else backstage. Yeah,
someone else pop up. Did we got someone else hanging out backstage?
Yeah, Dan from Oceanport. I'm going to assume that's Benner.
Which one?
Oceanport.
Father? Oh, McCready.
Nah, McCready.
What up? Goody, I got a question for all the wrestlers that you've had come through the program. Who's your dream foursome?
Wow, just wrestlers?
Just wrestlers.
Now, is it just because I want to hang out with them, or because they could play a little bit?
One foursome is who you want to hang out with. The other one is the quality of golf.
The foursome I like to hang out with, myself, of course, Winston, Dan Hopkins, and Billy Smith, because that would be a riot. The four that are good, Anthony, Delafov's gotten a lot better. Vinny's gotten a lot better at golfing. Parati, and now we just have a kid on our team, a true freshman, Devin Britton, who shoots like 80, played high school golf at Northampton. So I would add him to that list. He could play a little bit. He's pretty good.
So
he's probably the best one.
Is part of the recruiting process now for you who could be a potential member guest partner down the line?
You know, the minute Britton told me he golfed, I offered him a little bit more money. That was pretty important.
Pay attention, recruit.
Yeah. How you doing, man? I hope all is well with you, man. Everything good?
I'm good, brother. Everything's good. Keep this going. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Does this count as FaceTime?
Yeah, this counts. See ya.
We got a comment, Billy A.
No, you left Billy
Nice
A. out of
topic,
that.
Joe. It's a good one in that house.
You put me and Parati and Delafont. Billy, my brother, is a better golfer than all three of us.
Yeah, he is. Actually, Billy's my partner. I can't even believe I forgot him.
Yeah.
He's the guy I bring to Pine Barrens all the time. So,
He might have.
yeah, I'm shocked I forgot. No
Yeah.
Billy A in the foursome. No Caruso either. Oh, I forgot Caruso. I play with those guys all the time. I think of those guys as golfers maybe and not wrestlers. Yeah. And listen, if I didn't bring up Parati, what would he do? He'd come on here and go crazy. So at least he's on the foursome.
I'd like to get him up on here.
I know. He's done a good job, man. It's been cool.
Wow, you got comments about Billy, just like I said. It's Joe,
Yeah.
no Billy A or Caruso.
I'll tell you what's on a serious note, one of the more satisfying things is watching these guys go out and coach, like watching what Billy's doing with CBA and what Parati's doing at West Essex and Dan Seidenberg at Railroad. And there's so many. Joey Langle's the new head coach at East Brunswick. We have so many guys that have come through the program now that are coaching at the high school level. And Billy Smith's at High Point. They had a state champ this year. And obviously Delafov's helping your brother. But there's so many guys out there now. Visit Carroll's killing it at Long Branch. There's so many guys with good programs, you know. It's kind of neat to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool to see the circle of Rutgers wrestlers that I went to school for 6 years. Very fortunate, you know, I got a couple extra. But from all the relationships and friendships and teammates I've had on the team, all of them, even the guys that maybe quit wrestling even are within the sport giving back. The guys that did stick it through, like you got Phil Bacukis. I know he was with Hamilton all year.
Yeah.
I know Nick Ottaviano, even though he's becoming a state trooper's helping out. Like even younger guys like that, I was a little younger than me, if not the same age, before Hayden Rymack became a cop. You know, all these guys giving back in their different parts where they grew up. It's so cool to see. And there's guys that fly under the radar that are just helping every day that we don't even notice. You know?
And I always say that when they're going through it, right? College could be so hard, wrestling. It's just such a lonely sport. And if you're not the guy, even if you are the guy, it's lonely. But it's so lonely that just stay with it because you're going to be involved in the sport. There's no doubt about it. You're going to be involved in the sport at some point. And sure enough, there's like 20, 25 guys that are involved in high school wrestling right now. And they're killing it and they're loving it. And I knew that would happen. You know that's going to happen. I guess when you're in this sport, it's kind of in your blood.
Yeah, it's important too because hopefully they're the kind of people that build our reputation when we're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the country consistently, sending their club guys, their best high school guys to Rutgers when we need them the most. So
yeah,
hopefully
it's awesome. We got a guy backstage, Tim and Charlotte. That's cool. It's gonna be Hennessy. Hennessy's backstage.
Oh, we got them too. You know, you got them running a club all the way down in another state. We got Rutgers.
Yeah.
So.
Yo,
and I think
fellas.
Hennessy. What's up, Tim? Oh, it's nice down there, boy.
Hey, I should have my mobbing shirt on, Anthony, but
That's
hey,
all right.
Callie and I just got back from a run a little bit ago. We were thinking about you, man. We hit the hills today.
Yeah, I hit a little 3-mile run right to the beach.
Nice.
I'm about 1.7 miles to the beach, run there and back.
Nice. Good for you, man. We
I'm
hit a
getting
good one today.
I'm getting a lot better. I want to take that 5-mile run again. I think I could turn it up this time.
Oh, dude, I think we did about 8 that day. You were hurting, man. You were hurting, but it was good, man. It was good. Hey, 75 and sunny here today, boys. You should be down golfing. Good. I'm a little pissed you didn't mention my name about golf, but whatever, man. If I'm on the foursome, no big deal, man.
You know what's crazy? Now that I'm being able to think about it, there's so many guys. I didn't mention Caruso, you, or Billy. That's crazy.
I'm kidding. Hey, Kylie, come here a second. Come here real quick. Kylie
For
wants
the people out there listening, we go.
Anthony and Scott. Goodale.
What's up, Kylie?
Kylie, what's up?
You're
so
live,
we go down to Charlotte every year.
Millions of viewers.
She has no idea. She has no live.
That's awesome.
Walked out into the middle of this thing, so yeah.
You guys got your pool open down there?
Bunch of people here. So I called. Yeah. Anthony and Scott are doing a little show here.
Oh, cool. High five.
Anyways, I was telling him we're just running, man. Anthony wants to get another run in, he said. Anyways, hey guys, real quick, couple things. One is you guys know what a fan base you guys have built down here in Charlotte, so it's pretty amazing. I know a lot of people on the line, know how wide and deep the Rutgers fan base has been, but it's been pretty neat down here. We have a
a club, as you guys know, and you guys have built a fan base where these guys are literally on Friday nights and Sundays watching Big Ten networks, downloading videos, coming into practices with mob and gear on. Like, I haven't even sold it to them. They're coming in on their own with mob and gear, and I give out best dressed awards at practice because they come in with the Rutgers gear on, which is amazing, right? So you guys have built this fan base down here, which is awesome. What I think is neat is two things. One, you've done it in a way where, and I've said this to both of you guys, and Scott specifically from a coaching perspective, and I know Joe was just on, you guys have done this without the facility, and now you've got the facility. In addition to that, and I hate to say this out loud as a Rutgers fan, but you've done it without football, you've done it without basketball, which is really hard to do. You now have so much momentum with basketball. Obviously, I see the recruits coming in. Obviously, they had an amazing year, and you've been all over it with Coach Peichel, Scott. And now you see what's happening with football. 2020, I think the class was, number 178 or something, and it got pulled up to 64 in about 3 days. I just saw the recruiting class for 2021 is number 12. So obviously, we're a long way from, doing it on the field, but we're starting to really pull in the recruits and that kind of stuff. So if we ever get there with football to think what that could do for wrestling, I'd love to hear both of your comments on just how you think the momentum is building. And maybe you did it at the front end of the call. I was on a work call, so if you did already, apologize. But I'd love to kind of hear just the momentum we have, what that's going to do for you guys from a wrestling perspective.
I'll start because I could tell you this is a good opportunity for me to give Coach Michael a shout out. It was awesome watching what they were able to do. I see now being in the same facility as basketball. I've seen how hard that staff works and how hard those guys work. It's awesome, and it's great, to watch that run. And my daughter dances for that team, so that's pretty cool. She also dances for the football team. So getting Coach Shiano back for me personally has been great. I have a great relationship with Greg, and before this epidemic or pandemic, I was meeting with him once a week. So I see again how hard him and his staff are working. They're going to win, and when we start winning in football and basketball, it's going to make it so much more exciting around there, right? Those are the two sports that drive the engine. I think both Anthony and I feel like wrestling has done that for a little bit, and we like to, we're glad we were able to help out when we needed to, but we're our own program, right? We do our own thing. We root like heck for football and basketball because I understand from a financial standpoint, from a student body standpoint, how important it is to win in those two sports. So obviously I'm a huge fan. We are certainly excited. Everything going on. There's a lot of momentum right now. It's a happening place to be. Facilities are going up all over the place, which is exciting. I'm hoping when we get through this Corona stuff, everything picks up as is. I know that's going to be hard, right? The norm is going to be a little different, but you're right, Tim. There's a lot of momentum. It's because of loyal fans like yourself, loyal donors that will get us through these tough times, but it's an exciting place to be right now. I know that. We try to sell that in recruiting all the time, and it's awesome to continue to have guys like Anthony around our program day in and day out. That gives us an opportunity to do what we do.
Yeah, I think everything good was said, and on
Awesome.
top of that, I mean, it just helps with recruiting when you could bring them to a big-time football game or a big-time basketball game and give them that fan experience with all the students going crazy in one section, a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds in one place, with that energy. Some smaller schools and smaller programs can't duplicate that. So it's important to have that kind of environment. And I know for myself at 17, 16 years old, looking at major programs, that's something that I wanted. I wanted a big-time school, that big-time feel. And I think it goes a long way having a really good football and basketball team for us wrestlers. And it brings in more donors, more alumni, more money for everyone.
Tim,
Absolutely.
while I have you on, I'm going to just answer this question because I know this is something you're going to ask me when we get on a call later. But do we foresee any of the true freshmen that wrestled this year redshirting next year? And I would say, heck, I don't know what the lineup's going to be. And if our guys want to go, we'll figure that out. But, I foresee our guys taking a redshirt year. I think they come into our program knowing they get 5 years to wrestle 4. Some guys develop faster than others. It's a year-to-year situation that takes place for sure. And it depends who we get in as recruits, transfers, that kind of dictate that lineup. And if we could spread it out, we try to do that. But at the same time, if these guys want to go, they'll go. But I could certainly see some of the guys that wrestled as a true freshman, taking a redshirt year, if not this year, the year after. Sound good, Tim?
Frozen?
He froze down there, right, Ant?
He froze down there in Carolina.
Why don't you hang up now, buddy?
So, Goody, along the lines of recruiting here, does it make a difference to you when, you look for a good wrestler with good grades, but when you go on those house visits, is there things that you're looking for? Does it make a difference when a kid maybe is a little neater, the house is neat, his stuff's in order, he's got clean clothes, like not clean or clothes on, but he's not dressed like a rag doll, he's got like a nicer outfit on and just well-mannered? Does that make a big difference in the way?
Yeah, it's so funny you asked that. I could tell you some really crazy stories. I could tell you some funny stories. I will say this, a lot of times I ask to see the kids' room, how they're living. So that is important to me. So I walk into your room, and I didn't have to do that with you, right? Because I had a relationship with you. But there's nothing like that home visit. And I've been to some rooms where it's really, really a nice room. The bed is made, the Bible's on the side. Not that we need all Bible bumpers, but the Bible's on the side, and the walls are full of pictures of them wrestling with the award stands from guys from way back. It's pretty cool to look at. And then I've been into some rooms where it's terrible. It's a junkyard. It's not, and they may not make it at Rutgers. I think that way. And just the way a kid talks to their parents is super, super important for not only myself, but the staff. There's been times we've walked out of houses, pretend we have a phone call, an emergency, and we got to go. So just the way a kid is talking to his parents at the dinner table. But there's nothing like a good home visit. I have a ton of those stories. I could write a book about it, but it's pretty cool. I remember your home visit, man. You just stared me in the eyes. I was like, damn, this guy's serious. And you forgot about the relationship, and you're like, I'm going to get through this guy's soul. And I was like, this guy, we better change some stuff. And it was true, man, all that stuff. I think that's kind of where it all changed for us in our program, was kind of that home visit. And I appreciated it, though. It's better when it's real than when it's fake, and if it's hard at a home visit, it's probably going to be hard when you have a guy for 5 years.
Yeah.
It works out that way. They usually don't make it. So, and even if we have to take chances based on the home visit, you could tell if they're going to really be a tremendous student athlete or if they're going to really struggle.
Yeah. And I was having this debate with a buddy that wrestled Division I my age as well. And we were just talking about how we think it's that first year you're in the door, the freshman year, you don't have to go win your freshman year, but that's the year. If you don't make that transition and set the habits in the right way and how you're going to train and work out and how you're going to get better in your workout partners, it's probably not going to happen for you at college. And we went on to start talking about, like, wonder if it makes a difference of how you're coming in, what kind of attitude. Like, you got a kid that wants to do it up for you when you come to their house. You kind of know that he's going to put it out for you when you tell him to run as hard as you can for that mile. He's going to do it. That first year, he doesn't have to be the best wrestler. So we were just going down that rabbit hole talking about how can you make maybe a 2-star, 3-star recruit a 5-star kid, and those are some of the things maybe you look for in that first year.
Well, think about some of the guys we had, right? Like Kenny Theobald. He's a perfect example, who was a 1-star kid maybe, right? Just tough, but just bought into everything and just worked so darn hard. And he was such a good dude. Like, I didn't know, never know he's going to be an All-American, right? That whole tournament can really, there's blue chip there. We call them 5%ers. You're a 5%er, but there's blue chip kids. And then there's guys you have no idea at the end of the day they're going to be an All-American. You just don't know. And Kenny had an okay high school career, right? I think he was second once.
Yeah.
And then just came there and just believed in everything and trained all summer. I think of Greg Zanetti. Why would you go there? They got Winston. Zanetti started for 4 years, and he never placed at the national tournament, but he won matches there, and he was a fixture in our lineup for 4 years. We could never – so I think we take pride in that. Obviously, it's great to get the blue chip guys like yourself. But it's hard to do. It's great having a Suriano. It's great. It's great. But at the end of the day, they're hard. We're competing from a recruiting standpoint. You know this against Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa. Lost a kid today to Ohio State, so – nobody from Jersey, so don't hit me up and panic. But, that happens all the time. There's some great programs out there. So, yeah, we're making a living on a lot of 2, 3-star recruits. And now, of course, there's a lot of good guys coming in that are a lot better. Our last year's recruiting class was awesome. The year before was pretty good, and this year. But now, do you live the life that's going to pan out to be a multiple-time All-American national champ? That's kind of where we're at, and I think every program faces that, right?
Yeah. For a long time, we were known as New Jersey's team. We got 80, 90% every year. You look at our lineup guys from New Jersey, a lot of even public schools. Do you start looking at that and maybe trying to expand, looking outside of New Jersey a little bit more as the team grows from year to year and you lose some of these guys to other programs?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. You're pretty good at this, man, asking these questions. Pretty good. But no, that's an awesome question. Yeah, I think that a lot. Everyone's like, just keep them home. Just keep them home. They got to be like the right fit for you and the program. You can't just keep them home. You can't keep everybody home. It's I think about going outside the state. We got a really, really good kid from Ohio coming in, and we got a couple kids from, there's some great kids all around. And I think sometimes it's good to come from the outside into what we're doing and then maybe adopt that whole Jersey mentality. But yeah, I think for us to take the next step, sure, we got to keep the best guys home. They also have to fit our program, but we also have to be able to go out of state. And our recruiting's expanding a lot. We're in Iowa, we're in California now until we land those guys. But, Aguilar's a California kid, gives us great connections. I just think we have to do that to take the next step. Not everybody. And here's the next thing, too. Why don't they get Makai Lewis? Why don't they get McFadden? Well, you don't think we don't try? These guys want to go away, too. They want to go. It's amazing to me.
I take blame. I was McFadden's host.
You did do a good job with David.
I thought we had him.
But yeah, I think about that a lot. You just got to get the guys that kind of fit. And I think more social medias has helped our program because it's out there and guys from out of state see our program quite a bit. Yeah. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with our viewers. I mean, the amount of times that I get, even the kids that stick it out, that from New Jersey that go out of state, even they'll go 5 years, be a 3-time All-American, some of them national runner-ups. I'd say 90% of them tell me they miss New Jersey, they miss home. Yeah. Not that they wish they went to Rutgers or anything, but I think a lot of people think that they want to get away, and then New Jersey is one of those places. It's just you're rooted. Everyone's here. Everything is here. It's not one of those states where you could go far away and it's a lot better. It's like you go far away and everything's different and almost a lot worse, you're thinking. So I think people miss that a lot, and it's something we always take advantage of at Rutgers, and I think we always will. I mean, you see guys like Nick Soriano went to Penn State, came home. I think it's just you might see things more like that happening in the future as we get better and better.
Yeah, a lot of them leave, but they all want to come back at some point, whether it's after college, whether it's 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
What's that?
Not all of them. I don't want to say everyone.
No, I'm not saying wrestling-wise, wrestling-wise. Yeah. But when they're done graduating, they're going to end up living in Jersey. Right. They're always going to want to come back to Jersey, I think.
I agree. I'd say a lot of a high percentage would say that.
I got a couple comments here. Will we broadcast them outside again? Will we do something outside? We're always thinking outside the box, for sure. Experimented with College Ave. I'd actually like to do a match back in College Ave. That was pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So we had, I'll never forget the last one. Remember the last one, Ohio State?
Yeah. We almost beat them because
crazy.
They didn't bring Stever.
So Anthony had a kid from Jersey.
The beat Julius, Parati beat Demas.
We were up 4 matches to 1.
I don't think Schneider was there.
No, so we had them beat. Coach Flood comes in. He's like, "You're going to beat the number 1 team in the country." I'm like, "Slow down. Wait till you see what they got coming." And no, Snyder was there. He wrestled 97 that year. Okay. I believe. I think I'm right on that. 15. What's that?
I feel like we lost 18-15.
We did. Yeah, we split 5-5 because Billy Smith won at heavyweight. Snyder was at 97.
Okay.
And we lost but the paint chips were falling down from that place, man. It was so loud in there.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I got a transfer portal. Now that we have some time with the transfer portal, likes and dislikes, I don't know, man. And what do you think? Like, this transfer portal is becoming like free agency, I feel. There's nothing you could do. A kid doesn't want to be here, just go in the portal and leave. It's crazy. It's like it's free agency. It's like, yeah, I get it. If a kid doesn't want to be there, I'm not here to stop them, but it's just weird that you could pick up and get up and go. And during the same year, even sometimes it's become crazy. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree. And me personally, NCAA has granted me a 6th year when I was competing. So I'm a little like biased in the fact that I like them for that for sure. They granted me a year and then I went to win the NCAAs. But I think there's got to be a limit. Me personally, as a person, I couldn't just keep transferring every time a situation got tough or I wasn't the starter or something didn't go my way or I got in trouble. I could see myself maybe doing that once. And then it's like, what you want to be as an individual? Do you want to be that guy going place to place? It's kind of tough for me to see that. But I think it should be a limit, like a free one, and then you'd have to graduate for an exception or do something for an exception.
Yeah, it's crazy. You could just get up and go. So, listen, the benefits of it, obviously, you can help I think about football. They're going to help their roster tremendously through the portal.
Correct.
Coach has done a really good job with that. So, we have a limit of 30 guys on our roster, and I don't know. I mean, again, if a kid wants to go because, like you said, one time, okay, but you keep doing it, it's kind of weird. So, I don't know. Kind of torn between 50-50, I guess.
Yeah, I don't ever want to an 18-year-old kid might have made the wrong decision when he was 16 and he committed. It's like you want to let that kind of kid figure it out once. But
I always kind of respected it as much as I hated it during the time you were going through your college recruiting. You took and did your due diligence and really looked at every single program really, really hard. And that was a long, drawn-out process for you. I always tell the guys, when you know. And if you know, don't drag it on. Don't drag coaches on. But I just respected the fact that you really didn't know. And you took up until the very last day. Well, not the last day, but basically as long as it could to go through your whole recruiting process. And I'm sure that was hard because you get tired of the calls and tired of the coaches telling you how great their program is. But just the fact you went through it, one of the comments here is, my son, how's his experience going? And certainly wasn't getting recruited as hard as you got recruited, but he's getting recruited. And it's kind of neat being on this side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had that question for you too. I was wondering, is it exciting? Does he ask you for any advice, I was thinking, or does he kind of shrug you off and just try to
shrugs me off.
Like you don't.
It's crazy. He'll be because I'll ask him that. Coach Yano's been in touch with him quite a bit, and I'll ask him. He's like, yeah. He texted me yesterday. He won't even tell me. And there's so many. That football staff does a great job recruiting. Yeah. It's somebody every day, whether it's me they call or my wife they call. They are so on point with recruiting, but he doesn't even tell me that. He'll never tell me who's reached out to him. I have to pry it out of him.
Yeah, that's funny. I feel like it does to a kid that age. That's how I felt too. A lot of times I felt the same way when I was in his.
I remember telling your dad to stay away from you.
Yeah. I felt like my dad and my brother both stayed away a little because they didn't want to be biased about it all.
So your dad, for the fans out there that don't know, your dad has that red tailgating truck. It's been at the football games for 30 years. And the year you were getting recruited, I don't even know if you know this, we told him to stay away. Don't come by the tailgates. Don't do anything. So it kind of changed his way of life. But Billy and I would take that truck, and we'd be driving around College Ave with that truck midnight.
Yeah.
We load it all up because we wanted to keep the same thing. Because that tailgate was always.
You got to hit that parking lot behind College Ave gym.
Yeah. Yeah, so we hung out in that parking lot, and it would get late sometimes. We'd be running around in that truck. It was a lot of fun, man.
I know.
But, I remember him just telling him to stay away. I'm sure that was hard for him, the rest of your family, and that was crazy.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, I just didn't want to make the wrong decision. Kind of what we're talking about before about the free transfer. In my head, there was nothing in me that wanted to go somewhere and then have to pick up and leave. I wanted to go 100% trust that I was going to be a national champ. No matter what happened, that's just the kind of person I am. I was raised loyal. I went to public school and started wrestling at the PAL building in South Plainfield from 5 years old to 8th grade and high school there, and mostly trained just there. So it's in my roots for sure. And the college process, I think more kids should think about it like that. I'm going to my next home. I'm going to the next place. That's my next home. This is my next life kind of thing as an athlete.
Yeah.
Wise.
So let me ask, because this is kind of a two-pronged question, and I never asked you this. Never asked. Was there ever – the first part is, was there ever a point during your time at Rutgers? Because I know how stubborn you could be, and you'll get into it with Billy and you'll get into it with your dad. Was there ever a point when you were at Rutgers that, you know what, I want to transfer? That's the first question. And then I just want to touch base because we both come from programs. Jackson High School is so loyal and such a public school that prides himself on wrestling, and you come from South Plainfield. So I want you to kind of touch on what it was like to be at South Plainfield. And you're in the national semis wearing a South Plainfield wrestling shirt. I thought that was the coolest thing. And Heilman and Delvecchio and all those guys and Hunt are all fired up for that. So I just thought that was pretty cool. So kind of long-winded, but a two-pronged question.
Yeah. Well, first part, 100. I think anyone I think was lying as an athlete if they said they weren't ever thinking about transferring, unless you're like winning 4 NCAA titles. I think anytime a little bit of failure comes, there's always a little bit of doubt. Whether I ever expressed that or not, there's definitely was thoughts. And there's 2 major times that I could think back of when I had those thoughts. Not that I was ever going to execute on those thoughts, but the first one was freshman year, and I think it was more because I was making a lot of mistakes as a person, and I was doubting myself, and it was because of me and my personal decisions. But the guys around the team just weren't the culture that I knew I knew was a championship culture around me, and to be an NCAA champ. I knew I couldn't be, whether hanging out with those kind of guys or just doing those kind of things and winning NCAA titles. I knew it wasn't a mixture for success. So those were kind of thoughts that I was like, do I need to remove myself from the situation? And then the next thought immediately, just like when you get nervous before a match, I was like, no, like I came to this place because I wanted to be the first national champ. Like I wanted to change this kind of thing. Like I want to be the guy. It's time to put your foot down, be responsible for your actions kind of thing. Like, so there was times of that freshman year when I was not doing well in school, enjoying too much of my social life in the dorms and things like that, for sure. And I think that was more just on myself. And I figured that road out, navigated the path a little bit. And there was times you brought me in and maybe not screamed at me, but definitely disciplined me. And there's times I took my lumps in the wrestling room from it, or lumps in life from it. And I got better and I moved on and I readjusted. And once I got on the track that I felt like I was surrounding myself, whether I was telling you to bring guys in for me, there was times we went through bringing Graff in before he was a Rutgers guy. I expressed everything with you guys, open communication. I need this, I need that. I think that I need more of this, less of that, whatever it was. I think I was always pretty honest about that, and that helped get through those times and get that confidence and build that trust in that freshman year. And on top of that, I was working my butt off in the wrestling room as much as I could. When I could get Frank Monero, Pearsall, I was grabbing them karate. He was height above me. I was wrestling him a lot. And I stunk on bottom. There was days you put me with Dippery on top of me the whole practice, and I went through that.
I tell that story a lot. I think we wrestled first to 50, and Dippery got on top, and I don't know how many points he scored. I'm sure he did, but he was on top for a long time. And then they're like, "Don't worry, when Anthony gets back, you get back on your feet." You were like a caged animal, but Dippery was so darn good on top. We would do individual workouts closer to nationals and just have you go straight goes with him on top of you, because that guy kind of got you ready.
That stuff molds you as a wrestler. And I think, not that you don't do a lot of it now, I think guys individually, I remember coming to you guys and telling you my thoughts about not being confident bottom. I don't think some of our guys realize that that's what it takes to be strong, is to show a little bit of your weakness and get to work.
Yeah. Be vulnerable.
Yep.
Be vulnerable.
Another time I feel like I was a little, maybe that thought of having to get out of my environment. And some of these thoughts don't come from thinking that things aren't good. It's more personal development, thinking that I need to get a little bit uncomfortable out of my comfort zone to grow as a person and be the best wrestler I could be. Sometimes it has nothing to do with what's going on in your actual environment. It's just that negative thought that, I don't know, everyone goes through a little depressed thinking a little bit, or negative thoughts. And another time when I got 2 surgeries going into that first supposed to be senior year, I remember I was graduating college and just thinking, like, not being as motivated, being as the least amount of motivated as I ever was as an athlete. And I was just thinking, maybe I got to change my environment to spark something under me to want to keep wrestling. And if if I feel like this, I don't think I want to keep wrestling. There was just those thoughts right after having 2 surgeries and not being able to move out of bed for a month. But that was even like, that was just like child's talk. That was medicine talking.
But I think it's crazy that we have so many of our guys, and this probably happens in every program, that are so afraid to have that dialogue and express. You've always expressed a lot of those feelings, and being able to just, like you said, be vulnerable and be like, yeah, man, I'm not really good on bottom, or I'm really feeling homesick, or I need to get away for a little bit, or I need a couple days off. Like that's part of teaching and coaching, and a coach should kind of understand that and see it, but we don't see everything. You never know. I always tell when I speak to other coaches, it's like you got to know what all 30 guys are up to. You got to know what their home living's like. You got to try to know everything. And if you don't get a little feedback here and there, it makes it really, really hard. But you were always able to express your, I need a break. I need some rest. I want some downtime. And I think that's why you've gotten so much better in the last year, is that your body so darn well now. You can say, yeah, I'm just taking a little bit off. I'm just going to get my body moving. I'm not wrestling. And it's, I just think, I guess the moral of the story is our guys just need to have more dialogue with us and more. And, Jordan Pagano was really, really good with that this year. And he had a different schedule than us because he was student teaching. But he's like, Goody, it's too much right now, or I need more. So I think that dialogue goes a long way. You're able to do it for a long time.
You got to earn those kind of things, though, as well. Like, you can't a freshman doesn't just get that he wants a week off in preseason.
Yeah.
So it definitely comes with your merit as well, putting the work in when it's time to work.
And I'll bet you 90% of our listeners never thought you had any problems through your career, like emotional problems or wrestling problems. They probably thought, based on being a 4-time All-American national champ, that everything was smooth, and it wasn't always smooth.
Yeah,
it wasn't always smooth.
Yeah, but I think that's why now more than ever I feel young, even though I have had surgeries. I feel young in the sport, though. I was on this run this morning thinking about Frank Monero and how he was coaching us my freshman year, coach at Rutgers 2 years. But just thinking about him retiring, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, I got 10 more years. Like, I love this. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else right now besides running to the beach and coming home and doing deadlifts. Like, I was excited about it. No competition in sight. No hopes of any competition in sight. We're in lockdown, and that's what I'm excited about. That's awesome. I think I picked the right profession for me.
Yeah, no doubt. I remember Edgar telling us, and we'll get off here in a little bit because we've been on more than an hour. This has been awesome. But I remember Edgar, he's like, when he first started, he goes, I'm going to do this for 10, 15 years. And me and Leonardis were like, are you crazy, man? This sport is brutal. And he worked so hard. At some point, his body's going to break down. And I'm sure he's gotten older, right? So it's broken down a little bit, and there's been injuries and, road bumps along the way. But he's been so solid in his training, and he's someone we've all looked up to. It's been kind of awesome to watch his career.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, and he's done it 10, 15 years. He's a legend.
I know. It's incredible.
Yeah, so he's set for life from it. But
listen, man, this has been good. This has been cool. Very easy to talk. Glad we got some comments and some people to come on. If it works out, maybe if this pandemic keeps going, maybe we'll do it again next week, or if there's anything more. I'm sure guys were kind of afraid to jump on, but that's okay. This has been cool. Appreciate you guys putting this together. Hopefully the fans got to get away for a little bit, just relax, talk a little bit of wrestling, hear from Anthony and everything else going on. So good job, buddy, and we'll be in touch, right? And I'll see you soon. Sound good?
For sure, man. Great talk.
All right. Stay safe. Yeah.
Yep.
Tell your parents I said hello, right?
Yeah, you as well. Tell the wife and kids I said hi.
You got it. See ya.